Thank you for stopping by. Today is May 20th, and it's time to share the card that I created for this month's Oh So Inspired. I am a part of this collaboration team that is organized by Alicia from Call Me Crafty Al. To see the cards that the other team members have created, there is a playlist link in the description box and also on the end card of this video. If you don't want to use the playlist, there is also a list of all our YouTube channels. So this month we are being inspired by Yvette, and you can find her on YouTube at Yvette Olea Creates. As I was scrolling through her Instagram posts, I came across these cards. I love how they are basically the same card, but in different colors. With the launch of the new In Colors that Stampin' Up! Just released in the new catalog, I thought it would be fun to do the same thing using all 5 of the new colors. So let's take a look at my cards and the products that I used. So we will start off with Strawberry Slush, which is a color that is a returning color. We had Strawberry Slush before. And the stamp sets that I'm using on all my cards come from the Grateful Blessing. And I'm using this floral and then this to do my coloring. And then this, it says You Are Loved. And then I'm also using the Love and Strength for my inside sentiment, which is this one up here. And I'm using this little heart. And what I've done was I had to go through and find some designer paper that would match like this Strawberry Slush. So the designer papers that I'm using comes from 3 different paper packs. And so this first one comes from the Celebratory Sips. And I've also brought in my textured notes for my die cutting to put my focal images there, and I love that. And then I popped this up. Now the way I did my coloring was I stamped the outside on the outline and the stems with the full strength of the ink color, in this case Strawberry Slush. And then I did double generation or second generation stamping to color the inside of the flowers here. And I love the way that looks. And then on the inside, they all have the same sentiment and some more of that designer paper. So I like that it says You Are Loved, and even when your brain tells you otherwise. Because there are times in our lives when we are not feeling very loved, but we have to remember that that's our brain lying to us. So I thought these would be some really nice encouragement cards for those people who aren't feeling loved. So that's why I went with that sentiment. So now let's move on to the next color. Okay, so here is the Timid Tiger, and that designer paper also comes from the Celebratory Sips paper pack. And then this is the Darling Duckling, and that paper comes from the Floral Impressions. Then we have our Cloud Cover, and that designer paper comes from the Celebratory Sips. And then, last but not least, is the Secret Sea, and that designer paper comes from the Florals in Bloom. So Stampin' Up! Found that this ink pad, the Cloud Cover, is not working properly. So they only allowed the demonstrators to purchase it because they say that it's not giving the true color. And I have to agree, I did some testing with it. And I bought the re-inker, and I also used the re-inker on these little spots that I made another with the re-inker. And there definitely is a difference in color when you do the re-inker on the spots and when you do the actual stamp set. But I used both of those on my card, and I don't even know that you can really tell. I can't really tell. I mean, you can when you stamp it directly on each of them and then you let them dry and then you put it up against the cardstock. So I understand why they did it. And the thing that I don't like with the spot is it's hard to do second generation stamping, because once you stamp it off once, then there's really no more ink on there. So I had to do that twice to get a little bit of color on the inside there. But you know, you can always work around it, and I think it came out just fine. So there we go. There are my cards, and I just think they are so much fun. I've always wanted to do something like this when it came to introducing new ink colors, and I've never have. So I was so glad I found my inspiration piece on Yvette's Instagram, which inspired me to do this finally. So there we go. There are my cards. So thank you again so much for stopping by to see what I created. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, you can show me your joy by giving it a thumbs up. And don't forget to check out all the other cards created by the other team members and see what card they each picked for their inspiration. Hope to see you all next month on our next Oh So Inspired. And until my next video, remember, choose joy, and may God bless you all. Bye-bye.